Hello. So you're not going to be getting Steven's introduction today. I'm Robert Durant, and in this video I'm going to be talking about what I think you should do if you're planning on getting into Dominion, buying your first Dominion game, as well as my thoughts on the Dominion Intrigue expansion. Before I start along with Dominion Intrigue, I'm just going to explain the basic game of Dominion for people who have never played before and don't know how to play. If you do know how to play, I'll include a time to skip to so that you don't have to watch the explanation of the game. Okay, so this is the basic setup for Dominion. So in Dominion, what you're trying to do is you're going to start with a deck of cards. It's going to be 7 coppers and 3 estates. And at the end of the game, what you're wanting to do is have the most victory points of any player in the game. So here's all your victory point cards. Well, that's not a victory point card. Through the game, what you're going to do is usually you'll start your turn with 5 cards in hand. Then you may play any actions, and on the first turn you won't have any actions, but on later turns you probably will. And then you can play down as many treasure cards as you want from your hand. So these are the yellow ones with the coins on them. So for example, I have 4 here, and then you may buy any card that's down in play of that value or less. So with 4 coins, look here. So I could say, for example, the shanty town is worth 3, so I can buy one. I can buy a shanty town. So you only get 1 action and only get to buy 1 card per turn, even if you have enough money to buy 2. For example, I have 4 here. I can't buy 2 estates even though they're only worth 2. Then you can discard all your all the cards you have in play. So treasures, any time you gain a card, you discard it plus your whole hand. So I'm going to discard that, and then you'll draw 5 cards. And so that's most likely what you're going to be starting your next turn with, those 5 cards. And as you see, you'll get through your deck fairly quickly, especially at the start of the game. So whenever you need to draw from your deck and you don't have enough cards to draw from your deck, you're going to take the cards you have, put those into your hand, or draw them to where you need them, and then you're going to shuffle your discard, right? And so in this way, you're going to get the cards that you bought last round into your hand, and into your deck as well. So there's the shanty town. I wouldn't have had it on the first turn there. I have 3 I could buy, steward. And then on the next turn I draw 5 cards, and there's the shanty town that I bought 2 turns ago. So the actions, they do a variety of different things. So for example, shanty town will give me plus 2 actions, so then I would have more than just the 1 action on my turn. I'd get to play other cards. There's some special types of actions, attacks, that will affect other players. For example, the swindler. Each player retrashes the top card of their deck and gains a card costing the same amount that you choose. So and when a card is trashed, it's removed from a person's deck permanently and placed over here. And then with the swindler, you'll be able to choose a different card of the exact same value and put it into your deck. So one of the strongest plays there is to, when they trash their copper, is to give them a curse, as they are both worth 0. And so that's the basic game of Dominion. You'll keep going around doing rounds from all the players until either all the provinces are gone, which are the 6 victory point cards, the highest victory point cards in the game, or until 3 of any of these piles are completely depleted, other than the provinces. Now you'll notice that I did say that 6 is the highest victory point card, but there are some special victory point cards. For example, the Duke, who's worth 1 victory point per duchy you have in your deck. So the Duke could, in theory, be have more victory points than the province, and the Duke is only worth 5 to purchase, whereas the whereas the province is worth 8. And also, as you'll notice, the province is worth 8. So throughout the game, you'll have to find more efficient ways of drawing money, because the maximum you can draw with your starting hand is 5, as you have 5 cards to draw every turn. And each of the treasure cards you have in your deck are worth 1. So again, you can spend, for example, 6 to buy a gold, which will, when a gold's in your hand, you can straight off the bat buy anything worth 3. And so that's basically the game. Now, one of the interesting things about Dominion is every game is completely different, as these 10 cards here are randomly chosen from the box every time. There's 25 different cards that come in both the base sets, and so you can see here there's a lot of cards here I haven't used, and they're not going to be used in this game. And so, in theory, there is 3 million different card combinations that you can have down in play, and each of them would require a different strategy to do the best at that particular game. These cards here, they always stay. They do not vary. Now, I quite like Dominion. The main reason for that is I feel it's a lot of the things that a trading card game has, except all the players don't have to spend any money on the cards. So basically one thing nobody likes about trading card games. But everything else is fairly kept intact. You have to build a deck considering the concentration of different things. So at the start, like, you might think, oh well, these are the cards that let me win, but when they're in your hand, they're a dead card. So, you know, this is just a card I can't use in my hand, whereas actions and treasures I can definitely use. Also, the game always is different every time you play. The different action cards in play, and some of them, sometimes they're not even an action card. There's an additional victory card that will change up strategies. So I just recently purchased Dominion Intrigue, and it's my first Dominion game that I actually own. Before this, I played a lot of the base game, as well as Alchemy and Prosperity expansions with the base game, playing I guess it's the big box, deluxe box, I don't know exactly what it's called. But anyways, I had a lot of experience playing with that, and I really liked the game. I still really enjoy the game. And so I thought, well, I played that a lot, why don't I try Intrigue? Because Intrigue comes with all the base cards you need to play a game just like the base game does. Some interesting things about Intrigue, I definitely have to say that it adds some very interesting cards. Some cards I was very surprised to see when I first looked at the cards. One, the Swindler, you get to choose which card your opponent gains. That's something I'd never seen in the other sets. The Wishing Well, it replaces itself in its hand, +1 card, +1 action, and then you name a card, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's that card, you put it into your hand. I thought that was a very interesting mechanic. As well as you'll see, Intrigue adds cards that are victory cards but have are actions as well, or are treasures as well, such as this. So they're a victory card that aren't just a dead card in your hand. As well as they added a lot of interaction cards that aren't really attacks. And so the Masquerade can be used to hurt other players, and which I played one game, and it probably made me lose the game, the Masquerade. And this was something very interesting. So you get +2 cards, and then each player passes a card from their hand to their opponent on their left. So that's something I hadn't seen in the base game or Prosperity. Alchemy is passing your own cards to other players. And the interesting thing there is, if the person on your right is doing very well, at least doing better than you are, this is a very powerful card. And I lost to someone who played that down and just gave me all their crappy cards when I didn't have many crappy cards in my deck because I spent energy trashing them all. Another one that's like that interacts with other people is the Tribute. A player to your left reveals the top 2 cards or discards the top 2 cards of their deck, and depending on what they discard, you get different things from that. So this is I've seen this played really poorly against someone who filled their deck with treasures. It's not very powerful if it's against if somebody with the opponent to your left has a whole bunch of treasures, whereas if your opponent to your left has a lot of victory cards and a lot of actions, it is a very powerful card. And so this also, another thing about TCGs that adds is sort of working around the meta, not just worrying about your own deck, but also worrying about everybody else's deck and how your deck interacts with other people's decks, with not actually hampering other people's decks. That said, I did not find that the cards in Intrigue meshed as well as the cards in the base game. I found like there was a lot of combos that would go together and strategies you could go for. In Intrigue, I felt like every card was very unique, but it was unique by itself. There wasn't, it didn't really combo well together. There is, and what that enforces in an Intrigue game is for people to just buy. So you're going to start your hand, and you might have in your first hand be 3 estates and 3 coppers, and then people say, well, I'll buy silver with my 3 coppers, and then the next hand's going to be 4 copper and 1 estate, and then they say, okay, I'm going to buy another silver. Shuffle those up, and then you're going to start getting more and more money as you get more and better cards there. So look at that, 6, going to buy gold. And so they just kept on doing that and ramping up the treasures they had in their deck, and then they just got enough to start buying provinces, and just started buying provinces and won the game. I find with Intrigue there's a lot less reasons to actually touch the action cards, which I do not like so much, because that's what I like so much about Dominion, is all the different strategies that can be played every time you play. Now, I have tried mixing the two, so I used the base set and Dominion and Intrigue together, and I was very pleased with that. The base set included all the interactions between cards that you needed, and then you had some very unique actions and cards from Intrigue that really improved the game. So, that being said, I would not suggest Dominion Intrigue as your first Dominion game. If you're going to get your first Dominion game, you basically, 4 options. So, you get the base set, and that's a good, solid set altogether. Nothing very, very interesting in that set, but all the cards work well together. There's different strategies in that. You can get Dominion Intrigue, which I personally would not recommend, but it comes with all the base cards as well, so it's the complete game. There's that big box, which I'd highly recommend, although I believe it's twice as expensive as the base set, but it comes with the base set along with Prosperity and Alchemy, which I really do like the cards from Prosperity and Alchemy. I feel like that really brings out the game a lot, especially adding all those different card combinations, so there's even more strategies further than just the base game. And then I guess what you could do is you could get an expansion, and then they sell the base cards by themselves. I probably wouldn't suggest that either, because I feel like the base set has all the cards you need for everything to mesh together well. But I haven't tried any other expansions other than Prosperity and Alchemy, and then Intrigue. So I think I will conclude this video there. Thank you for watching.